All right, so the first thing we need to figure out is where A is located on the number line, and it is at 3. So A is at 3, okay? Point B, it tells us, is 3.25 units away. Now, it doesn't say negative 3.25 units away or positive 3.25 units away, so it could be either direction. We don't know that. So we're going to write our two addition equations, one for a positive 3.25 and one for a negative 3.25. So let's start with our positive one. I'm going to use blue for positive. So we know point A, we're going to do A plus B for this. Or, let me erase that. We're going to do A plus 3.25 equals B. And also A plus negative 3.25 equals B. Because again, we don't know if it is going to be a positive change or a negative change in direction based on what we are given. So for our A plus 3.25, we know A is at 3. So 3 plus 3.25 equals B, and that is equation number 1. And then equation number 2, the only thing I'm going to change is making 3.25 negative. So 3 plus negative 3.25 equals B. And those are my two equations, my two addition equations to determine where point B is located. So if I were to solve these and use the number line, the first one I would go 1, 2, 3, and then a little bit more, and I would end up at 6.25. And then the other way, I would go backwards, 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more, and that would be for equation 2. This would be equation 1. Okay. Any questions about how I found my two addition equations? So whenever we go over your assignment for today, you will have 3 problems that are just like this, where you're given point A, how far away point B is from A, and you have to write the two addition equations. Okay. All right, let's look at from a word problem. Yesterday, Katrina was just $23.75 below her fundraising goal. She got a check today for $12.33 to put toward the fundraiser. And it says to describe the progress. I'm going to cross that out. So let's write an equation to show this relationship. So if she is $23.75 below her goal, is below going to be a positive number or a negative number? Right. So we're going to write that as negative 23.75. And if she got a check to put toward the fundraiser, is that going to be a positive number or a negative number if we're depositing a check? Is that going to be positive or negative? Positive. So we're going to add to that 12.33. And that is going to give us our answer. So if I take a negative 23.75 and add to it 12.33, is my number going to get further away from 0 or closer to 0? Right, it's going to get closer because we are moving right on the number line, okay? So if I have my number line and this is 0, and let's say this is $24, and we are right here at $23.75. And I add money to this negative. Okay, this is negative. I'm going to be moving this way towards 0. Okay. Is my answer going to be negative or positive? Let's look at what's bigger, negative 23 or positive 12. Which one's bigger, negative 23 or positive 12? Right, it's going to be negative. So we know our answer is negative. And I'm going to subtract these two numbers. Okay, I know we're adding, but to find the answer, I'm going to subtract them. So 5 minus 3 gives me 2. 7 minus 3 gives me 4. 3 minus 2 is 1, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So my answer is negative $11.42. So this number right here represents how far away from her goal she still is. Okay. So $11.42 is how far away from her goal she still is after that $12.33 that she deposited. Okay. Any questions about this? No. No. All right, let's look at one more. The ancient Babylonians were writing fractions in 1800 BCE. And BCE, you should know from 6th grade social studies, means before year 0. Okay, so if it is before year 0, and I have my number line, here's 0, would BCE be on the left side or the right side of 0? Right. This is going to be BCE, and we call this one, this side, CE. Okay, so if it's on the left side of 0, it is going to be a negative number. So we're going to represent it as negative 1800. Okay. They did not have the concept of 0 until 1489 years later. In what year did the Babylonians develop the concept of 0? So we're going to use these numbers to write our addition sentence. And we're going to say negative 1800. Since it's BCE, we're going to represent it as a negative number, plus that 1489 years, and that's going to tell us our answer. So equals, we'll say y. So if we're starting at negative 1800, and we're only going 1489, am I going to go past 0? If I have 1800, right. So if it's not going past 0, it's still going to be a negative number. And then I'm going to find the difference between these two. So 1800, and I'm going to write it as a subtraction problem real quick, even though we're doing addition. So this is going to be a 7, it's going to be a 9, 10, 1, 1, 3, 11. All right, so I have negative 311 for my answer. Since we are talking about year, or a year that something happened, would I leave my answer as negative 311, or would I write it as 311 BCE? Right. So our answer is that they discovered the concept of 0 in 311 BCE. Questions about that one? All right. Oh, somebody else joined. Good morning, Gabriel. All right. Okay. So I know we're doing addition equations, Yariel. Share this again. If I were to write this the other way around, so let's say 1489 plus negative 1800, my mind automatically says I'm adding the opposite of 1800, and the opposite of addition is subtraction. So that's where the subtraction came in, because I know it's going to be the difference between the two numbers. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, it's negative or it's subtraction either way you write it. We're just writing it as an addition equation right now. All right, I'm going to share this. And let me drop the link. Hopefully I copied it. Nope, I did not. All right, let me get the link. All right. So in the chat, I have added the link to the Jamboard that we're going to do right now. It's being slow. All right, Monica's in. So once that shows up, go ahead and open it and come into the Jamboard. Okay, so I have 3 of you in here. All right, while I'm waiting on join, let's go ahead and talk about the 2 problems we're going to do. All right, so the first one is a word problem, and it reads, Ben purchased lunch today at the school cafeteria for $2.75. Before today, Ben owed $9.15 on his lunch account. What is the status of his lunch account after today? All right, so I know we have a couple that have not done a Jamboard with us before. So on the left here is the toolbar that you're going to use. There is a pen tool. You can change it between a pen or a marker, an eraser. You can drop sticky notes in. You can draw shapes. And this one right here is text. If you'd rather type than write, that's fine. So what I would like you to show me right now is if he owed $9.15 and then purchased lunch for $2.75, what would that look like as an addition equation? So if he owed $9.15 and then bought lunch for $2.75, what would that look like as an addition equation? And show me on the Jamboard. And remember to initial so I know who is who. Oh, Gabrielle, do you prefer to go by Gabe? Okay. I will make sure I call you Gabe from now on. Thank you for letting me know. All right, so for the ones who are in here and working, all right, so some things that I notice. Most of you who contributed agree that the $2.75 for the lunch he purchased is a negative number. And that would be correct because he is subtracting that money from what he has. So it should be a negative $2.75. Yariel, why do you say plus a negative 915? Why did you make 915 negative? All right, if you're not looking in the chat, he said because he owed that money already. So if he already owed that money, that would be a negative balance in his account. So Yariel's equation is correct. We started with a negative 915 and then subtract or added another negative 275 to it. So let's go ahead and adjust our equations to reflect that both numbers are negative. And then once you do that, I would like for you to solve this. How much money does he now owe on his lunch account? All right, I see negative 1190, negative 1190. So if we take $2.75 and add $9.15 to it, we should get $11.90 in the negative that he owes. All right. Any questions about this problem? All right, let's move on to the second slide then. All right, so this is like that first problem that I showed you whenever we started class today. Point A is shown on the number line below. Point B is 2 1/3 units away from A. Write two addition equations to find the location of point B. So we need to ask ourselves two things. Where is point A located? And do we know if it is a positive 2 1/3 or a negative 2 1/3? And write our two equations from that information. So on this slide, can you show me what those two equations would look like? All right, so I'm seeing one equation would be -2 plus 2 1/3. What would the other? Okay, so I'm going to type the one that we definitely agreed with, which was -2 plus 2 1/3. Okay, so we know that's one of them. What would the other one look like? What if it was a -2 1/3 units away? How would you write that? Right, so -2 plus a -2 1/3. You guys are doing a great job writing with the mouse here. Okay, so our other one would be -2 plus -2 1/3. And both of those would help us find where B is on the number line. Any questions about this one? As I take away your editing rights. All right, so let's talk about the assignments for today. You have, if I go into Canvas, you're going to have your warm up like normal. If you haven't done it yet today. And once it loads, there it is. So we're on Wednesday. Your warm up, I'm going to drop the video here. And then you have one assignment in the exit ticket today, since you had so much yesterday. So again, the first three problems here in the Desmos are just like what we did here with the number line. So you have the number line, and it shows in the box here, it shows where point A is, and tells you that point B is so many units away from A. And you need to write the two equations. So one where B is a negative number and one where B is a positive number. Then you have one that is a word problem, and it's a vertical number line. It works the same way. We would draw in 0. Anything above would be positive. Anything below would be negative. And then you have 4 problems that are just, 5 problems that are asking you to solve. Okay. What do you mean, Yariel? Are you talking about for these ones? Okay. So like that, except instead of saying plus b, we would use the number of units. So if b is 2 1/3, we would say -2 plus -2 1/3, or -2 plus 2 1/3. So I need to see the two different values in there to find point B. Okay. All right. Any other questions about your assignment for today?